To this special called board meeting of the public schools of Robeson County. Appreciate everyone making the effort to be here. I know we have two virtual board members. We have Mr. William Gentry and Mr. Terry Locklear. Appreciate y'all being here. We got a new system. Mr. Cole just mentioned it to you. If you press the button and I can see your light come on and I'll recognize you as quick as I can. Okay? At this time, we'll have the invocation by Mr. We have a revised agenda in front of us. If y'all see that, you got a, I think they're gonna talk about summer school, right, Dr. Williams?
That's correct.
Yeah. Okay. Henry, if you'll give us the invocation. You got to tap in. Hold on, make sure. I got to, what I got to do? Okay. Press your button. Okay. Is your light on? Okay. Okay. Mr. Henry has the floor. Huh? I thought I did. Oh, I got to, where I got to hit? What have I got to hit? Or press? So he's seat number, what number is his?
It's green.
He's seat 16. He's on.
You're 16, Henry.
Okay. All right, we can pray. Our dear gracious Heavenly Father, we come at this time, dear Lord. We ask that you remember us as we make decisions that affect over 20,000 students for Robeson County Schools. We ask that you help us to be unbiased and unselfish, and that we will make the right decisions that will continue to strive forward and be the best in the state. In your heavenly name we pray, amen.
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 At this time, we'll have the adoption of the agenda. Brenda, let me get you, Brenda. What number is Brenda? Hold on 1 minute, Brenda. I got to take a bit, number 12. So click on 12, right? Your lights on? Huh? Oh, right there, okay.
So move, Mr. Chairman.
Now you have, Brenda has the floor and she made a motion to approve the adoption of the agenda. Any further discussion? Henry, you second? Henry second. I'm not gonna mic him in right now, but Henry does second, okay? This time we'll move to information items. Can I get all in favor of the adoption of the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passed. Thank you. So, all off? Turn them all off? Okay, good.
Mr. Chairman, board members, thank you for your attendance tonight in the special call board meeting, and wishing all of you and everyone a safe and a happy 4th of July, and that we certainly appreciate the freedoms that we have afforded to us in this great nation. Information item, I'm going to start with good news, please. In your package is a letter from Mr. Manoon with DPI in reference to fiscal year budget bill 22-23. If you'll take a look at that, in this letter, he is informing us that in the General Assembly budget is an additional $10 million that we may be able to receive with the adoption of the General Assembly budget signed off on by the governor. Originally, our project was funded at 80%, thus $40 million from DPI. The additional $10 million would get us to $50 million from DPI. And then we have an additional $10 million, $5 million for the planetarium, $2.5 million from our county commissioners, and $2.5 million from you as board members. So total dollar amounts available to us now at this point for the project is $60 million, and that was our original budget. So we're thankful for that. The second sheet shows you where that is in the budget request, budget bill. That is item number 14 that shows the $10 million. Any questions on that? And again, we're thankful, hopefully, that the budget bill will be signed off within the next week or two. The next item is the need-based grant, public school capital fund certification form. If you take a look at that, that is in your board package. If you take a look at the box and what our requirements are in terms of using the need-based fund grant. It says per North Carolina General Statute 115C-546.12, county receiving grant funds through the needs-based public school capital fund must enter into an agreement with the Department of Public Instruction detailing the use of the grant funds. And that's what this document represents, that and it's been signed off on and certified by the chair of our county commissioners, Ms. Richie Stevens, by the chair of our Board of Education, Mike Smith, and then by Public Schools Department of Public Instruction State Superintendent Catherine Truitt. Again, so it's certified, signed off that our intent is to use those funds and to build the project as written in the grant. And Erica, this was also allow those funds to drop.
Erica? You got, what number is Erica? 13? Okay. You got the floor, I think. You don't have the floor, you do. 13 and
Yes, okay. Yes, that's correct. We cannot start with looking at getting any of the funding available to start the project until this document was completed. We had a webinar 4 weeks back that went through in specific detail about the next steps and how to proceed forward.
Also, those funds will be actually allotted to the county, correct?
$13. Okay. I think you on. Is your light on? I'm
Now,
sorry.
okay, yes, that is correct. These funds, we've been told, will be treated like our lottery funding, and presently, we have access to what our allotments are. We have to send detailed documentation of expenditures to either Ms. Carla Kinlaw or Ms. Locklear with the county office, and they have the ability to write those checks, and they bring those over to us once we make those requests.
Right. And then on that document, if you look at items number 4 and item number 5, we're certifying that local matching funds are derived from non-state and non-federal funds. And so again, it is local dollars that the 2.5 from the county that we're using, and then from our 2.5. And then item number 5, we certify the project site is owned free of any debt by the board in accordance with General Statute 115C-521. So again, the project has been certified as written in the application. Any question?
Anybody have any questions? Brenda, hold, let me, number 12, hold on. Next on number 12.
So, Mr. Chairman, do we need to move this to action item? No.
Huh? What'd you say? Greg? Okay, no, all right. Okay, Dr. Williamson?
Okay, under action items, first item is SFL and A architect fee, that
Oh, we got the
contract.
summer school update, Dr. Williamson.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm trying to get ahead of myself.
You did, Robert, what number are you, Robert? What number are you on? You're gonna do it from the podium, okay. That makes it easy.
Chairman Smith, Superintendent Williamson, distinguished board members and guests. We just want to say thank you for all your support with our summer learning and enrichment camps throughout the last 3 weeks. We had a wonderful, wonderful program this summer, and I just can't say enough about all the support that we received from our program coordinators to these young folks sitting over here to my right, Mr. Davis, Mr. Zach Jones, Miss Cindy. I could go on and on, but everybody, you know, Miss Jennifer's department, CNI, everybody working collaborative, Miss Thompson, Mr. Bobby, everybody just came together and made this the best possible opportunity for our students. And we just want to say thank you publicly for all that you've done. But our first slide is going to talk about our attendance. And we had over 5,000 students to apply for our summer enrichment camps and summer school. And this is a breakdown of each daily attendance. So our averages were anywhere between 3,200 to over 4,000 for 11 days. And of course, today was the last day. So it was our makeup day for testing. So we knew the numbers were not going to be as high because those that had already met the requirements, we knew some would not attend today. But we're going to talk about some celebrations here in a few minutes. But a lot of the schools did do their celebrations today, and we knew the number was going to be low. But we just want to say thank you to our support team for making sure that they were making those phone calls at the beginning to make sure that those students knew that we needed them in summer school. We wanted them to be there, and they really, I mean, they were calling constantly. Every school I went to, Mrs. Thompson and I were at South Robeson, and they were just on the phone, just everybody calling to say, listen, we need you in summer school, and they were able to get their numbers up. Today, we had a wonderful, wonderful summer commencements over at Lumberton High School. We're just so proud of all of our seniors that came to our credit recovery to get those courses done. So we had 12 that they were very close but did not make it, but we're going to work with them starting at the beginning of the school year to make sure that they get everything done so we can get them graduated as well. So today, we graduated 80 students, and you can see the numbers there. Fairmont High 9, Lumberton 26, Parnell Sweat 15, Red Springs 13, and of course St. Paul's with 17. And I was talking with Mr. John Simmons earlier, and when they've called the first name, there was a lot of cheer and laughter and just a lot of exuberation. So I knew it was going to be a lively group, and they were. So we were glad that the parents came out to celebrate with those kids. The next slide looks at our credit recovery. So this summer, we were able to recover 1,172 credits. So our high school principals, our site coordinators, our counselors, our teachers, getting the students in class every day, whether it was one class or whether it was 2 classes, 3 or 4, they just done an outstanding job. And you can see from the numbers there that we're just proud of our students for coming and participating, so they don't have to make up those classes in the new year. Next, our slide looks at our Extend 1 summer testing. Those are our students that are on the extended content assessment. So this summer, we tested 15 of those students, and 8 of those students ended up proficient. So we're just so proud of our Exceptional Children's Department, Ms. Bernie, Dr. Ramjura, all of our EC teachers for just working with our teachers, making sure we have the right teachers in place along with their support teams. And you can see from the growth there that they really work with those students, and we're very proud of them. Next slide looks at the EOG reading summer testing. And you can see there in the gold, it represents the students that are proficient. And I was telling Dr. Manger, these numbers are hot off the press. Miss Cindy and Miss Kelsey worked really hard to get these numbers to us. Mr. Zach was keying in on the slides around 5:10, and we were trying to get copies printed, and he hadn't even finished the slide. So, you know, so we were working diligently to try to get you some accurate numbers. So as of today, we're still looking at about 100 tests that we still will get results tomorrow. So as you can see there that out of the 4th grade, 44 students were proficient in reading after the summer camp, 15 for 5th grade, 20 for 6th grade, 19 for 7th, and 14 for 8th grade. So we're very proud of those teachers for working with those students so diligently. Next slide looks at the achievement levels in mathematics. And of course, you can see there in the goal, 31 in fourth grade, 10 in fifth grade, sixth grade had 9, seventh grade had 15, and eighth grade had 7. Next slide looks at EOG science. So we tested 12 fifth graders, and one of those students became proficient during summer school. And for eighth grade science, we tested 5, and 3 of those were proficient. As read to achieve, we looked at the number that were tested, 370, and out of those, 36 met the RTA requirements. And we're very proud of those students who worked really hard. You know, if you've never had to take a state assessment, third grade is, you know, it's really hard on those students, but they came in, worked really hard this summer and met the requirements. So we're proud of them. Next slide is the overall summer program. So altogether, we had 205 students to become proficient during the summer camp out of approximately around 1,800. And then the last couple of slides there looks at our amplified data with our first grade students who came to us in summer camp. 96 first graders made growth from the end of the school year to the end of the camp, and 122 second grade students made growth from the end of the year camp. So a lot of successes throughout the last 3 weeks, and we're just, like I said, we're proud of the team, everybody working so diligently to help us to meet the needs of all of our students. So that'll give us a good baseline for August the 29th, which will be our first instructional day when the new academic year starts. So we'll be ready to go, and we're excited about the new year. And the next slide just has a couple of photos highlighting. If you had a chance to go and see some of the activities going on, the students worked really hard, and when they got to work on their STEM activities or like in Indian education, when working on their cultural activities, the students, I mean, you could just see it in their faces how excited they were to be there. So any questions or comments?
Any questions? Dr. Emmanuel, hit. You're number 10. Let me see if I got you now. Your lights on. I got Mike muted off. Hit 10. Your green light's on now. You should have it. Is that right, Mr. Cole? It was 10 right there.
Selector.
Now I'm here. I just want to make some comments, and I want to go back to the science, and it dealt with one child. That is a very difficult test. I don't think any of us could probably take it and do that well. It's very difficult, and I'm very proud of what that student did. Also, all of the students, I want to thank the superintendent, the central office, the principals, the teachers, the parents, the students, you know, for this second chance this summer for them to do well, and they did. I also want to talk about today, the schools. At the finale, the children went to Magnolia, and they had several schools that came together there, and they had a slushy affair, and they served the kids slushies. They were so happy. I mean, they were so excited, and they talked about the progress. And one little boy told me in the third grade he graduated. And I'm not sure what that was about, but he said he graduated.
Yeah.
And I said, congratulations. And he said he got his diploma when he was going home. He was going to get a diploma. It was probably a reward from his parents. But those children were so excited. We want to thank everyone, the teachers, everybody who brought this together. This was a second chance for these students. And I think it was money well spent. It was well planned, and just appreciate it. Didn't get to go to the high schools. I chose to be with the other children, but it was really, really, thank everyone for supporting this. It was really, really a generous affair for everyone to take part in.
Thank you, Dr. Emmanuel.
Yes.
Anybody else? Brenda, wait a minute. Let me see how to, let me get it. Mute all. I don't want to do that. Okay. Is your light on? Okay. We're working on it, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, I'm on. And Mr. Chairman, one of the things I do want to talk about a little is how countywide the community is coming together also to try to help educate our students during this summer. And I think I want to commend all the churches and the community task force that's going forth with that. So hopefully not hopefully, there will be a better grade level next year and a good exciting starting for our students and staff. That's all I want to say because they're going to piggyback from where they left off from by getting with the staff is what they told me.
Yeah,
So I'm looking forward to that. God bless.
thank you. Anybody else? Anybody else? Okay. Mr. Robert? You have anything else, Robert? You good? All right. At this time, we'll move on to the next item on the agenda. That was summer school. We're in action items now. Dr. Freddie Williamson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members. Earlier this week, we had a conference, a Zoom call with SFL&A in terms of you selected them last month as the architect firm to do our design work for our new career center. So let me ask Ms. Bobby Locklear to come up and talk about that process, and then I'll ask our attorney, Mr. Grady Hunt, to speak to the contract that you have reviewed, please, sir.
You gonna just talk there, Bobby?
Yeah.
Okay.
Chairman Smith, board members, Superintendent Dr. Williamson. So we did meet with, virtually with, at Robbie Ferris of SFL+NA. And so some of the highlights of that meeting and of the particular contract is that his contract does allow for him to go ahead and design our new career technical high school for both phases. We have enough funding to complete phase one, but while he is doing the work, his intent is to go ahead and complete the design for phase two, which we will apply for as soon as the next opportunity arises for the needs-based grant. In his particular contract, Exhibit C outlines all of the projected cost of the project. One of the highlights of this pending funding, and we hope with the addition of the $10 million that the General Assembly will give us when they pass the budget, it is our intent to design this building to be net zero energy efficient. And of course, and if that's not possible, because we all know the condition of the market at this point, if that's not possible, we are going to design it with solar panels. Dr. Williamson has already, and I've mentioned it as well, the budget does account for the remaining $10 million to be awarded to us that we were cut when we were given the $40 million. So FL&A's total contract price would be $5.1 million to go ahead and design phase one. And while he is doing that work to pick up phase two would cost us approximately $1.3 million. Other highlights, if you will turn to page 2, I'm sorry, it's at the after page 23, page 2 outlines the timeline of this particular project and the work that he's going to do. And so it is our intent that by August 2025, we will be in this building with students in it and school will be started. So he has outlined his timeline on that particular page. Mr. Grady we have spoken with Mr. Grady, and one change that we're going to make to the contract is on page 17. In case there is a dispute, we have changed the contract to say litigation as opposed to arbitration. So based upon the contract that you have here, the only change that was suggested is going to be moved from arbitration to litigation.
What was the logic behind that, Bobby?
And I,
Grady?
Going from arbitration
to,
just simply arbitration is a very expensive endeavor compared to local litigation, especially if you follow the arbitration procedure set out in the contract. It just gets to be pretty onerous and burdensome when you can litigate in your own county. You know, and I would never, given the choice every time, I'm going to litigate in my own county versus going somewhere else to let somebody else listen to my grievances and my disputes. So it's pretty simple. I mean, I've never agreed to arbitration in any contract that I've been part of over the years. And they knew it. I guess they were trying to throw a fastball by me.
and one other additional point in our meeting as well, to adhere to this timeline and to try to stay within our $60 million budget. That, again, we understand the construction market at this time. Once this design begins to take place, then the next piece of that is going to be ordering that material, because there could be situations where material still, for instance, could be a year out. So again, it is very important that we go ahead and get our architect to start designing so the construction people can get their job done in terms of getting the material here on site.
We experienced that, Bobby, with what's going on in Red Springs about material and stuff. So it's very relevant that there's no doubt that there will be some issues. We just need to make sure we just stay ahead of the curve, as Grady said. And so something's going to happen. It's going to throw up a red flag.
Mr. Chair, members, again, as you are aware, all the fees will be paid out of the grant fund. Erica, you want to talk to that, please?
13, hold on a minute. You light on? Well, I got them all muted. Hold on a minute. Next on.
It's on. We're good.
Okay,
Okay.
you got the floor.
As Dr. Williamson just stated, that all the funds for both projects will be paid from the needs-based grant, and there are procedures in place that we can request those funds up front for certain percentages and stages as we go along. So typically with lottery funds, it's reimbursement only, but there are some provisions in the grant, since we are talking about, tens of millions of dollars, where we can have those costs upfront and paid. Any
Okay.
questions I can answer?
Anybody got any questions for Erica? Anyone? Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
So again, our certification of the project will allow this project to move forward and for those funds to drop so that we can start the design work. And as Bobby had mentioned, we are working against a timeline in terms of being able to get materials in place to have the project come in on time, which would be hopefully the fall ready 2025. So my request, Mr. Chairman and members, is that we approve, again, with a nod from our attorney, the contract for architectural fee awarded to SFL&A, please.
Hold on 1 minute. You hit the button. What number are you? Are you light on? Huh? Hold on a minute. These lights on now?
Next on,
Huh?
there's two buttons, next on or microphone on, either one should do it.
Oh, yeah, okay. So hit next on?
He's good.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, with the modification of change recommended by Attorney Mr. Grady Hunt on page 17, I make a motion that we accept the contract for SFL&A Architect.
Have a motion by Henry, second by Brenda. Any further discussion? Craig, turn your light on. Wait a minute, Nick's on. All right. Hold on a minute.
It's on, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I think Mr. Grady already answered this, but just to make sure, since he caught that arbitration, Mr. Grady has reviewed this document. And
I
everything,
did.
and everything is fine with the document. Thank you.
Any other questions? Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passed.
Great, thank you.
Did y'all vote? We lost the other two.
Okay.
Mr. Cole?
They're still online.
Huh?
They're still online.
Terry and Mr. Gentry?
I said aye.
Okay.
Thank you.
What about Mr. Gentry? Mr. Gentry? Terry said aye. All right, thank you.
Great. Again, thank you. The next item is contract for Metcon to serve as you approved as our construction manager of this project. Bobby, if you come and share any points from that conversation. And again, Mr. Grady, if you share any concerns with that contract, please.
Turn your light on, ready for talk. You gonna say something?
So the highlights of our construction management at risk contract is going to be that Metcom will work collaboratively with our architect to design and manage the cost of the building. So part of the conversation we had on Tuesday was that as SFL&A is designing the building, Metcom would then begin to analyze those design plans and survey the market to see how the market is flowing in terms of materials. The Metcom will then come back and make recommendations to the architect to say, is this the best design? Is this the best way to build this at this point? Again, with the intent to save us as much money as possible in the completion of this project. Throughout that project, part of that work again is they are going to evaluate the supply of the market to determine when materials need to be ordered, if it's a year in advance, so that we will not have a lag in opening school in August 25. The Metcom will be responsible for all bids and management of the construction. So we will not be involved in the process of bids going out, but we will be there when bids are open and walk through that process with Metcom. One of the an additional highlight of the contract that we have with Metcom would be that any savings that we would have in the contingency fund, wherever they are able to save us money, then we would split that savings with them at the conclusion of the project. And again, I believe that's standard in contracts. And Metcom did not list, as opposed to SFL&A, a specific dollar amount that we would retain them for. Their compensation would be based off percentages, and I have those percentages listed there. Pre-construction is 1%. Construction would be 5.37. The security of insurance and bonds would be 2.54, and the technology fee will be 0.25%. And same as we have required with SFL&A or the architect contract, is we have had them to change on page 20 from dispute resolution arbitration to litigation in court.
You good with everything, Reggie? Reggie says he's good. Have a motion by Brenda for approval, second by Henry. Any further discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman,
Yeah,
is Metcom subject to a penalty if they do not complete the work on time?
Can anybody answer that?
There's not a liquidated damages clause in the contract.
Grady said there's no liquidated damage
Damages.
clause in the contract. You
So
think-
the answer is no?
That's correct.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, Mr. Gentry, there's not a hard date for completion of the contract. So when you say if he doesn't complete it on time, I mean, that timeline is flexible to us. There's not like a expiration of the funds. So there, I'm assuming that is why there is not a date in the contract, because we don't have a hard completion date requirement.
We did have that conversation with Metcon. The concern was supply. There's have no way of knowing if we'd be delayed. And so, but we did have a conversation of not being able to bring the project in on time. But the supply question really is why we didn't push that.
Hold on 1 minute, Dr. Williams. Dr. Emmanuel, what number are you? 10, hold on a minute, next, 10, okay, you light on? Yep.
This may be for the lawyer or somebody, so the appropriate person can answer that. Will they follow our bid process, Metcon? Do they have to follow our bid process when they're bidding?
They've got to bid the project out.
And they have to do our bidding process? Okay, the next thing, what does it mean when you say at risk, Bob, at the top, that title that they have there or somebody?
So with a guarantee, with a construction manager type contract, at the end of the day, once the architect designs the project, they're gonna go in and give you a guaranteed minimum price that they can construct the facility for. And that's what they're obligated to. As long as nothing changes, I said minimum, maximum price. So as long as nothing changes in the design of that facility, they're obligated to construct that facility for that bottom line.
Okay. Those were my questions. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Dr. Williams?
Yes, it is, Mr. Chairman and members, I'm requesting that we do approve the contract for Metcon to serve as our construction risk management company, please.
We had a motion by Brendan, second by Henry. All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. Thank you, Dr. Williams.
Great, thank you. Board members, thank you so much. What this would actually do for us, and why we are working against a timeline, what we've received from DPI is that the next round of the applications will be released in September. And so what we need for phase 2 is $40 million. And so we need to have a design in place for phase 2, in a sense, a shovel-ready project to request that money in hopes of getting $40 million. So your action tonight is critical in that step, in that process. So thank you so much.
As what Dr. Williams said, if we go to phase 2, at what point will we, I know Dr. Emmanuel talks about the curriculum and stuff. At what point will we try to form that committee you talked about and see about, we make sure that we lay everything out the way it needs to be?
Thank you. In phase 1, which again was part of the application design work, we'll basically meet and form that group. Our intent is to roll most of those programs that's already in place over. And so that's pretty easy to do that. It will be phase 2, where we put a different committee together that we begin to look at curriculum, programs, those kinds of things. So again, phase 1, and again, that's why tonight's work by you is critical for us. Phase 1, we're determined. We know already we'll add a couple of new programs in
Sure.
phase 1, but it is phase 2 where we really put that committee together, really look at that work in detail in terms of new programs and what kind of support can we get from industry, private industry to support that. So
Sure.
phase two. Yes.
Any other comments, questions?
I have a question.
Yes, sir. Mr. Gentry.
Do we still have an opportunity to revisit negotiations with the county commissioners as to the site?
Anybody?
You should have that opportunity, Mr. Gentry, until time comes when you start turning over dirt. I mean, there's going to be a time that you can't revisit that, but it's, just looking at the timeline of both the design and construction, that date's pushed out. It's not anything that's very near. So you've got time for that.
Approximately how much time, Mr. Grady?
Let's look at, let me just look at the timeline that you've got set out. So really, when you look at this, the notice to proceed is August of 2023, but I would say I would feel comfortable that by the end of this year, but after that, you're probably pushing it, because then before construction, you've got to go through the permitting processes and all that. So I would say by the end of this year, that decision would be one that would need to be hard and firm.
And we are talking about the calendar year?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other comments, questions? We voted. Yeah,
Dear members, thank you and happy 4th of July holiday.
thank you. I'm ready, okay. Hold on a minute.
I'm on my,
I got you now.
I move that the Board of Education for the Public Schools of Robeson County go into closed session for the purpose of discussing certified and classified personnel, North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11A1 and 6, and to consult with the attorney retained by the board in order to preserve the attorney-client privilege between the attorney and the Board of Education for the Public Schools of Robeson County, North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11A1 and 3.
Have a motion by Randy, go into closed session, second by Brenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Motion made by Brenda, second by Randy. We got to do certified and classified personnel. We got to vote on coming out of closed session. All in favor of the motion to come out of closed session, say aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Motion passed. Okay. Number 12. You can come on.
Move approval of personnel as presented, Mr. Chairman.
Have a motion by Brandon, second by Henry. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Thank you. We didn't have any legal issues, do we, Greg? No legal issues? Excellent. All right. You light on? Right now?
It's on now.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn,
Have
Mr.
a
Chairman.
motion by Randy and a second by Henry to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. Thank you.